What's going on, guys? This is KDK Kill Dyken, and yeah, we got some late breaking news. We're really excited to hear this. We have several new games coming out to the next gen consoles. Now, we did allude to this several years ago. There was a huge leak that was made about a year and a half before the announcement of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 coming to Arcade 1-Up. And today we are pleased to announce that there are several new systems that will have the newer titles that hopefully they're remastered. We're going to have Nintendo Switch, PlayStation 4, and Steam carrying the iconic titles of Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom, X-Men Children of the Atoms, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, and The Punisher. Now, if you guys know, most of these are a lot of my favorite titles. I spent tons of money playing them at the arcade. But without further ado, I know a lot of you have those questions, like how come Xbox wasn't announced or the PlayStation 5? We're going to cover that, as well as look at the required specs of what you will need in order to run this, especially if you plan on using a computer. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. You know what time it is. All right, so this morning Nintendo Direct held their annual conference as far as their summer of gaming in terms of titles that will be released on the Nintendo Switch, as well as several other affiliate outlets. In fact, I even noticed Marvel Studios or Marvel Entertainment made this announcement as well as PlayStation. So we will be having X-Men Children of the Atom. These are all the arcade game titles. Marvel Superheroes, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, Marvel vs. Capcom Clash of Superheroes, and Marvel vs. Capcom 2 New Age of Heroes, and The Punisher. So in total, we have about 7 new titles that are coming to consoles. Some of these have never been on console before, especially The Punisher. In fact, even with the Xbox 360 and their massive arcade titles, that was pretty much the only one in the bunch that has never been officially released on a console. I know we did have that on Arcade 1-Up, but I was really pleased to see this title as well. Now, in regards to Marvel vs. Capcom 2, if you guys remember, I hosted a stream back in 2022, and we covered, along with my co-host Glenn Baisley, we covered a leak that came out 2 years ago. So that was actually 2 years before 2022, which would have put it around 2020. And someone made this massive leak saying that they had some inside information that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 in the Marvel series would be re-released for the next gen consoles. Now, this story was never picked up. Most people kind of discounted this as just being a rumor, but for me, I knew it had to be true. There was just way too much detailed information talking about any of this. And so again, this was 2 years, about 3 years before Arcade 1-Up made the official announcement that they would have their version come out. And one of the things that this person, Grain of Salt, on Reddit said was that depending upon the sales of Arcade 1-Up and Marvel vs. Capcom 2, that the game would then be re-released on consoles following, depending upon how sales would do, and that it would be coming out for new consoles. Now, again, I know some of you are wondering, why hasn't Marvel vs. Capcom 2 or these games been announced for the Xbox or whatnot? But please, guys, keep in mind, this is common business practice. This is the same type of thing. If you guys follow me on Twitter, I made an announcement saying, relax. We all know the PS5 and Xbox versions are coming. They always do this release when it's on other platforms, and then about a month or two later after their release, it comes out. So if you guys are familiar with NBA Jam back in 2007, I remember they said, no, that's never going to come to Xbox 360, and then eventually it did come out, because originally it was only released on the Wii. Then it came out on the PlayStation 3 and also Xbox 360. And the same thing happened with House of the Dead. We saw the same thing happen. They made an announcement. It came out on Nintendo Switch, and then a few months later, it came out to, I think it came out on Steam, and then it released on Xbox as well as PlayStation. So don't fret, guys. We know, I know personally that it's going to come. They do this same business as practice to make sure that they get their lead sales. So they're going to make sure they spotlight Nintendo first, and then, of course, Steam, and then maybe 3 months months later, they probably worked out some deal, and then it'll come to those kind of systems. So if you guys are wondering why they haven't announced that, again, don't fret. This is common business practice. We've seen this happen too far, too often. But aside from that, I'm really happy to know that Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is coming to the new next-gen consoles. Again, we did talk a little bit about this 2 years ago. In fact, that was in August 14th, 2022. In fact, I had that lead from Reddit. I believe that lead is still there if you guys wanted to read it yourself. But it was way too much in detail. In fact, this person said here that it would be available on PC, PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Xbox Series X and S, and Nintendo Switch. She mentioned in the arcade cabinets that they are being released later this year, are meant to build up hype for the brand new series. Now, again, when that person made that original announcement, that was for the year 2020, and then of course COVID happened, so that's probably why Arcade 1UP had to delay some things or whatever. But this was all written in stone time and time ago, and I told you, it still makes me wonder why nobody really picked up on any of this. But nevertheless, we do have it here. We don't have an official price. I do speculate that the games or the game package for these several titles will retail for about maybe $25, maybe $39. If they're smart, they probably price it at around $39, so that way you get the best bang for your buck. But again, I do anticipate, just like I made this announcement and covered this 2 years ago, I do anticipate it's coming to PlayStation 5 as well as Xbox Series X. I mean, hell, it probably even come to Game Pass. Now, as far as specs in terms of what you will need, we do have it here. Let's see, let's pull up Steam. And then over here, if you guys go to Steam, I have this currently on the wish list. It says coming soon. It does not have a price listed. It tells you all the games that will be included. And again, The Punisher is probably the newest title out of the bunch. This title was never released on any console whatsoever. In fact, I first played that game, Circus Circus, summer 1993. I remember it was one of my favorite games, beat 'em ups. In fact, I fell in love with it, dumped a bunch of quarters into it, had every possible weapon known to man that you could use. But the minimum system requirements that you will need to run this on a PC is 64-bit processor, obviously running an Intel Core i5 3470 with the AMD FX 6100, 4 gigabytes of RAM, and an NVIDIA GTX 470 AMD or Radeon 260X with 2 gigabytes of RAM. So for those of you who aren't too PC literate, let's kind of go over here. We'll look at the specs. Obviously, that chip is not something really current. So this chip came out about 2012. So for most of you who are into PC modding, you will, or if you already have mini PCs, you should be able to run this on most of the mini PCs valued at about $129. I have a UE2X1 that's valued, it's a single board computer. Forget the exact chip that's on it. It's like the J something, whatever Intel chip. It's x86. That one should also run it fine. I know that's one of the newer chipsets, but the video card requirements and everything pretty much are very minimal to run most of this. The particular chipset has a burst frequency of 3.6 gigahertz. You also have a cache of 6 megabytes Intel Smart Cache. This one also has UHD. Let's see, it's DDR, so this is really old. GPU, all right, here we go. Intel HD Graphics 2500. Now, if you also have basic video card, those video cards are old. This chip is end of life. These are the minimal system requirements to run these specific titles. In fact, if you look here, I think it says end of life. All right, launch date came out in Q2 quarter 12. So the servicing date for this chip ended December 31st, 2019. So a lot of the chips that are currently in your mini PCs and single board computers and whatnot, they're still around and they're well within this time frame. In fact, this might work. I'm not exactly sure, but it might even work on the Ratsa X2L that I have, that you guys have also seen it. So anywhere you're looking at about a $39 to about $109 single board computer, or up to about maybe $39 to about $129 for mini PCs, up to a single board computer that should successfully run that. As far as the minimal requirements, the base frequency of this chip is 3.2 gigahertz, so I would definitely go with something like this. But again, you're looking at any type of chip that was made on the Intel side between 2012 up until now, which is really good. I mean, that's really cheap, really affordable. You don't need a dedicated graphics card because obviously this one here is using Intel HD graphics, which is the minimum specs. Also looking at this, obviously most cases you want to have a video card, especially if you're playing online, just to have some things. But for the most part, you should be able to run this online and run it fluently without having some type of dedicated video card. But again, guys, this has already came out on console. We all know that this came out on PlayStation 2, Dreamcast, the original Xbox, Xbox 360. In fact, we still have large communities that play this online right now. On Xbox 360, guys still hit me up. PlayStation Network, that's still up and running. And then, of course, we have the Arcade 1-Up titles. Now, as far as you Arcade 1-Up customers, I honestly kind of feel sorry for you because you spent $800 on something when this thing originally came out. Online wasn't available until just last year, around March of last year, and in some cases, it's still not up to par. So in this case, if you're going to have an arcade cabinet, if you want to mod this, then this would be the way to go. If you could get that Arcade 1-Up unit for like $50 or whatever, you know, just the stock frame, and then you want to put your Nintendo Switch or your PC, PS4, and then hopefully when they make an announcement for Xbox Series X or something, if you want to dump that in there, then that's the route that you should take. So, you know, a lot of your Arcade 1-Up customers out there, you spent a whole lot of money. You bought something for $800 with a 14 millisecond response time monitor on 17-inch LCD screens, whatnot. People claim that it was the best, had a lot of faulty issues, and they still just, they kind of got it up and running, but it still has some issues with it. You guys are going to take a hit because I know most of you guys are going to end up trying to resell most of this anyway. But as far as the online community, yeah, guys still play this on Dreamcast. In fact, they're setting up right now for Evo. But I'm happy about it. I'm excited. I'll probably do maybe 2 giveaways or something for this because I'm just really so happy for this that, you know, not only do we get it on some next-gen consoles, but it's on some reliable networks where you know the online is going to work. You're going to have professional people giving you day one good connectivity, unless it better run full speed and connectivity, because if not, they're going to be tarred and feathered and everybody's going to come after them. But I have no doubts about it. I mean, we knew what Arcade 1-Up was doing. They were working with some single board computers. Some of those guys didn't have experience in what they were doing. You know, a lot of you guys were led to believe that it was going to work and it was going to be the latest and greatest. No. But here you are, Marvel vs. Capcom 2, Marvel vs. Capcom, The Punisher, Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter, X-Men vs. Street Fighter, Marvel Superheroes, X-Men, Children of the Atom are all coming back to you guys in all of its glory. I'm happy about it. This is something that I can fully support because you're getting them on reliable marketplaces. Steam. Hopefully it comes to Epic Games. Probably not. I don't know if they have some type of agreement between Steam and Epic Games, but all of those are reliable marketplaces. And again, I do foresee this, just like I did 2 years ago, seeing them come out on the next gen consoles, and we cover that. I do foresee this coming on Xbox, guys. Just relax, you know, let them have their first 2 or 3 months ahead of time, and then you'll know somewhere around that time when they're going to make that announcement. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below about what you think about the new release. I know many of you who are excited for Evo, maybe they release this before Evo. Maybe everybody will leave the Dreamcast alone and make this the official ports. We'll see coming to tournaments, because Dreamcast is still the official port for all tournaments. There's guys that still meet up in hotel rooms and they travel nationally talking trash and playing against one another. And they don't use Xbox. They don't use PlayStation 2. They don't use PlayStation 3. They still use CRT monitors with the Dreamcast system. And it'll be really excited to see. So I think I'm going to go hook up my arcade cabinet once again, put my Xbox 360 in it. But I'm glad it's out. I'm excited about that. And this is what we were really waiting for. Not that the arcade 1-Up version. You know, there was a lot of hype and FOMO behind that. But this is what you guys should be excited about. And the cool thing is, because we have Steam Link and other various ways to play a lot of these games on our single board computers, guys, yes, this should be playable on your Raspberry Pi 5 as well as your Orange Pi 5. remember, we have things like Steam Link and other various sources that allows us to tap into these additional networks. And that is something that I've really been pushing, not here on the channel, but with the Supreme team and RetroPie Gaming, is that we can tap into some of these additional networks and you guys get the best bang for your buck. So considering that this is coming to Steam, you will be able to tap into this on your Raspberry Pi 5 as well as your Orange Pi and be able to play this fluently without any issues. So with that being said, guys, I'm out. I will catch you guys later. Peace out. Bye-bye.